Vice is directed by Adam McKay and stars quite a big cast. You got Christian Bale, Sam Rockwell, Amy Adams, Steve Carell, and among others. And this is the biographical film that's based on the life of Dick Chaney, from the rise and success of him going from his early years in his political life, and then working his way up all the way up until when he was vice president for George W. Bush. And this movie basically details the life going back in the 60s when he was young, and it deals with also leading all the way to when he basically ends up becoming the vice president with George W. Bush. And throughout the film, we see the course. We are supposed to uncover the untold story of what happened behind the scenes of what that were basically classified information that was never released to the public about Dick Chaney.
So basically, in a way, it's more of a conspiracy theory that, somewhat is there, but we don't know fully.
Yeah.
It's just how we think it went down.
Now, this is going to be quite a different type of review that we're going to review, because we're going to review just the movie on its merits, on its own, because this is a very political type of film.
We try to stay out of politics
as much as we can, because we don't want to try to, have debates or anything with anyone.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's basically like whatever our views are. It's our personal. It's our personal thing. It doesn't need to be on the page, and we know that if we said something, it's either going 50% of the world's going to agree, and 50% is not going to agree. It's 50-50. I mean, everything is totally divided, and because of that, you notice we won't do any Michael Moores, or, for what it's worth, we won't do anything that's pro-conservative or pro-liberal.
Yeah, basically,
we're not either
You'll
side,
never see us do documentaries that are on politics.
Because really, I'm not going to side for anything.
Yeah,
so.
we're just solely basing the film on its own, how it deals on how it did based on facts and things like that.
Mm-hmm. That being said, I will mention something on a con later on in the film.
Yeah, but here's some backstory for you. Now, this film was directed by Adam McKay, who, if you may remember, he's directed films. He's mainly known for comedy, but films like Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, things like that. But he's also done recent other ones that are kind of drama related and kind of based on true stories, which was that movie The Big Short a couple years ago, which also featured Christian Bale. And what got me really interested with this film going into it was
the trailer.
The trailer really got me into seeing the rise in the success.
No, what really got me was Christian Bale playing Dick Chaney, the way he
transformed himself completely, gaining weight for the role, and really showing that he's fucking Dick Chaney. Basically.
The little 3-minute segment we got where he's playing Dick Chaney and Sam Rockwell is playing Bush.
Yeah.
And the way that they both present it and the looks and how they act it was fucking oh my God. Is that really Dick Chaney and Bush?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Especially Christian Bale is playing Dick Chaney. That looks fucking spot the fuck on.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to definitely check this out. And I didn't really care for the whole political part. I just wanted to go see the movie for them.
Yeah, because I'll go watch pretty much almost everything with Christian Bale in it. There's been movies I've missed over the years that he's been in, but that I haven't seen. But I've still, gone into a lot of films that he's been in.
Exactly.
And so, that's got me interested. And upon seeing the film, since it's got a lot of different polarizing views, the movie wasn't really good, but it's got its ambition that it's going for.
Yes,
but it's very, very messy.
For me, it was something I'm probably not gonna watch again, and it's a shame because aside from the performances, which we'll get in our pros and cons, the movie is very hit and miss, and at times it's quite a mess, if you ask me.
But to get our pros out of the way, like we were saying, the performances all around the cast are all phenomenal.
My fucking
to me,
God.
This is probably one of Christian Bale's most outstanding performance that he's ever done. And this is, to me, I hope he gets nominated for an Oscar at least for this.
And it's not only that,
but everyone else.
Christian Bale playing Dick Chaney was fucking phenomenal. Rockwell as Bush was great.
Amy Adams as Lynn.
Miss Chaney. Yeah. And then you have
Steve Carell
as Rumsfeld. He nailed it. And then you had Tyler Perry as Colin Powell. Then you had this one chick that played Condoleezza Rice. Everybody literally looks like the fucking politicians.
Yeah,
it's amazing what they did with the visuals with the people, like the makeup. It's like, oh my god, they really transformed them.
Absolutely,
that is awesome.
They all like bring their A game to a whole great level in this. Not only do they capture a lot with Chaney, the way he talks, like if you see interviews with Dick Chaney, the way he talks in that kind of very sophisticated manner, like
where he's very quiet. Yeah, he's a quiet man,
and he talks in that kind of like very gruntle type of voice. Bale like really captures not only his mannerisms but his expressions as well from the way he talks.
Oh, dude, the expressions, the body language of everybody is perfect. Sam Rockwell nailed it with Bush.
I thought I was watching George W. Bush on the big screen, I was like, holy shit. But anyway, so the cast was all phenomenal. Now, the other thing I'll get into that I got into, it's kind of a hit and miss, like from some of the stuff that they cover with the real life facts of Dick Chaney, because if you basically the movie explores that behind the scenes in behind the office, Dick Chaney pretty much rose to power on getting away with a lot of stuff behind closed doors and things like that.
Basically, politicians breaking their laws,
breaking the rules,
and bending shit, and corruption, which we can all agree on. The government's corrupt. Yeah, either side you pick. It's a corrupt system. Yeah. And it's anywhere in the world.
Yeah, some of the stuff that they cover, like the stuff that factors into the Iraq War that takes place,
9/11,
and stuff that takes place also like in the in Vietnam era, they do cover some stuff that I got into that they really show like how a position of power can really take a toll on the public, basically.
Yeah, I did like the commentary on that, the the corruption, and like before I get my cons about like the structure of the film, the stuff that they do go into, like 9/11, the behind the scenes of what they had to go through, and into making choices they made, and how some of these politicians met each other. Yeah. And how their relationship build was really done good. And I actually enjoyed a lot of the story of Dick Cheney's household.
Yeah, I do too. I especially got into a lot of how he's reflecting on his life, especially when you see the years later, how he's become into political power and stuff, and it really takes a toll on him, like the way you see it through his eyes.
Now, this is a very weird film structurally on this one thing I want to talk about, and it works sometimes, but then sometimes it doesn't. It's being narrated, and the narration is a hit and miss for me, but then it tries to make fun of itself too on some scenes. Yeah, like I don't know. It's I don't want to spoil anything, but it was pretty clever who narrates it.
Yeah, when you find out like all about it, like toward the end, you're just like, okay, I get why they did that for this.
Which was a worrisome thing, because when I first started watching the first 15 minutes, it was narrating it, and I was like, oh my god, because like he said, I try to avoid documentary politics, and I thought we walked into one. Yeah, tricked, and I was about to get pissed. Yeah, I do not like those type movies.
Going with the whole kind of approach they do with that, the movie does have some humor into it. It does. That's really humor into a lot of like funny moments and stuff.
Some funny parts.
The way the director kind of goes with that on some of the stuff, like here and there with the way they're approaching the political. Like some of the stuff they bring up.
There's some some behind the scenes where they kind of talk kind of sick, dirty to each other,
especially with Steve Carell.
Talk shit to each other. Yeah. So and it does tries to play off as like a Big Short type thing. Yeah. We're trying to be funny on some things and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but beyond that, that's pretty much now where we get to our cons, and I can say after really upon seeing it. Yeah, the movie, the way it's structured, it's very messy.
I want to say this because that was my biggest fucking flaw. This editing was ungodly fucking butchered to the point that I was fucking lost for a majority of this film. It's like they took the script, put it in the blender, let it, turn it into shavings, and just like threw everything out on the floor. I mean, there's literally a fucking scene where we get 4 different eras of Dick Chaney, and then one will pop up with the opening where he's drinking, and then when he's young, and then suddenly we're at 9/11. Then we go back to here. Then we're jumping all the way to where he's old.
Yeah.
And then my problem with the film is at times it can flow, but then it keeps making the mistake of fucking jumping everywhere in different errors. I mean, we're talking about we're at 9/11 before the Vietnam part where he's working with Nixon.
Yeah.
Where am I at here?
Yeah, the movie can't really keep itself still on where it's going. And a lot of it goes back and forth. Now, when they get to some of when he actually meets, when he gets working with W. Bush and everything, it starts to keep itself a lot more focused and stuff.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it really goes all over the place with its timelines that it's going by.
Yeah, and that's what, I mean, for a movie that we've seen films do timeline type structures, and sometimes they go from middle or to the beginning or the end to the beginning. I like that. That's not the case here. I think the director went at it very awkwardly in a bad way. It was very
disjointed.
Yeah, and to the point is like, yeah. And another thing I do have a problem with, and I'm just going to be brief on this because like he said, we're not going to get into politics whatsoever. However, it is a con, so I'm going to quickly just briefly say that I feel like there's a little biasm being played on a certain demographic of politics, and it could be like one side could be right and the other side could be wrong. It could be anybody's game in politics. And I felt like the director didn't do a lot of fact checking.
Yeah, there is a section toward the last half where it felt like they touched base on an event that happened in real life that was created supposedly through the Bush administration, but this wasn't necessarily the case from what we understand, because from what we understand was that actually came in later, after Bush was done as being president.
Yeah, basically what he's saying, there's some certain things that happened that kind of more took place under Obama, and anybody can argue which side did what all fucking day, and it's never going to get anywhere, and it's why we don't do politics. However, there's some stuff that we all know that's already happened that we feel like, okay, the director's playing more biased than he is trying to write a fun documentary biography.
Exactly.
And to me, I feel like a lot of people said that took him out of the movie, the mood. And it really does take the mood out, because nothing kills you more if you're right or wrong when you're showing so much biasm.
Exactly. Now, the other thing I will say, too, is that when we see the rise of Dick Chaney, who he becomes, who he is, like, through the years and stuff, there are things they bring up that are not necessarily really developed too well. Like, for example, there's a part where he becomes, like, a CEO of Halliburton. But we don't really fully explore that aspect because it's kind of a quick scene that we see him become
Basically,
CEO.
There's parts where is a big idea, but because Dick Cheney's got so much going on with his life, they felt like, okay, we're gonna have to shove everything he's ever done, but some stuff won't get a backstory, which is a problem. Yeah. Because I mean, the next moment he's a politician, then the next scene he's the CEO of Halliburton, and then the next scene, just so we can get that famous part where he shot the other dude on accident.
First shot.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, it feels like we got to shove every little thing he's done. Maybe they would have had time if they didn't focus on pointless shit like his DWI and all that stuff. I mean, really. I
get what they were going for with the whole way,
opening
because of the whole like choices that he makes, like inside, having a position of power. Yeah. But from the way that the story kind of deviates it doesn't really take much of a toll on the actual narrative.
It doesn't go in the narrative. And two, the DUI scene is actually used 3 times. Yeah. Like supposed to symbolize something. It's a goddamn fucking dude, no different from anybody who's gets arrested for DWI. I mean, it's like, what am I trying to focus on the scene for?
Yeah, I mean, it would be different if it was like a different crime or something like that.
And not really a spoiler here because it's just another pointless scene. What was the part where he's an electrician on a line pole, dude, and the fucking dude just fell? And I'll tell you right now, by the looks of that fucking scene, I think I would be screaming in pain because the dude snapped his legs half-assed backwards, and he ain't even fucking in pain.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if the movie's trying to come off as awkwardly funny.
Either it's trying to come as some political satire, which I think that's what they were probably going for. Some parts. But the way that also factors in some of the tone what the film is going for. There's moments where it feels tone deaf because they're talking about, funny shit that's happening, but it comes across as kind of awkward because they're talking about serious shit that really feels very, emotional and impactful.
Well, it's going for a very strong drama, but then it's trying to tell a serious biography, like some dark shit went on, to we're gonna do like a satire fun, to kind of like a parody, like something that Sacha Baron Cohen would do, like Bruno would fucking do, in a split second. I don't know what the fuck it's trying to do.
Yeah, the movie, it's very disjointed on what it's trying to be.
The problem is, overall, it's the most misjointed film I've seen this year, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck, what's going on here. I think there were some other things I did have problems with. Oh, yeah, after a while, I will say that I kind of started getting bored with it.
Yeah, I was still kind of interested where it was going for a while. But I will admit, after the first hour, I wasn't... because when they bring up certain events that happen the first hour, I was hoping they would explore more of the stuff, like he goes through, like with the, being in the office with Nixon and all the other presidents that are through there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of it, they don't really develop much of, like, his, like... his position, so to speak.
Well, it's not only that. So much is going on, like we just mentioned earlier, is eventually almost everything doesn't get told.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They leave a lot of things that were in real life kind of left out.
Yeah, and even though I did like some of the parts where he wants to like roll the credits in the middle of the film.
Yeah, that was funny.
It's funny, but he does throughout the film you get that kind of funny shit, but then it's like it's overly done.
Yeah.
Like the text part. There's a lot of scenes where just random texts where he's like, it's like the dude's cussing. It's almost makes you feel like somebody made more of a propaganda documentary of them pissed off of this party more than they were trying to explain a movie.
Yeah.
With some of the text that they put in there.
It was overly done to the point where it kind of, it would have worked better if it was just the narration parts, but they have to put text in between. And I feel like...
I mean, in all honesty, maybe they should have just played it safe and built a structural story of Dick Chaney, like... where he's young, working all the way up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, it doesn't explain...
it would have been...
Another thing, he doesn't even explain why he got into politics. Because it showed us the scene
I've noticed that too,
where he was drinking. I mean, for Adam and me, all we know that he was a fucking dude working on line posts, and he liked to drink, and he could have probably been in sports.
Yeah, we don't know. We know that he was going to go to school to go to college, but he ended up.
He never tells you what he was going to go for, and the next scene he's in DC about to work for fucking DC.
Yeah,
I'm like.
Yeah, so they really glossed over a lot of stuff that they kind of really left out. But with that being said, with all the problems I did have with it, the movie wasn't bad. It just really was. I would say I was disappointed because I kind of wish it would have really went.
It's a movie that's got nothing but outstanding Oscar-worthy performances, but everything else is just it's extremely hit and miss to the point that I would say more averagey to a point I won't watch it again.
Yeah, it's one of those one and done rentals.
So with that being said, I'm gonna go with and I'm being kind of nice here. I'm going to go with the extremely low average Joe rating.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. I'm going to go for a very, very low average rate on the Film Phreeks meter.
Yeah.
And for those of you who have also seen Vice, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel. And check out some other reviews here and our website at filmphreeks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.